It's been over 3 decades since Leslie Nielsen made us laugh with a Naked Gun film, and now the franchise returns with Liam Neeson in the lead, carrying on that irreverent comedic tradition. But does this type of parody and slapstick work in today's world? Lieutenant Frank Drebin of LA's police squad has the commitment and heart of a true cop. It's sitting on his desk. And he finds himself in the right place and the right time to utilize his unique set of skills to lead police squad and save the world. Just like with any Naked Gun film, the plot is simple and direct. There's no mystery or intrigue, because that would get in the way of the ridiculous comedic antics. Frank Drebin and police squad investigate a bank robbery and then an apparent suicide, while a megalomaniacal baddie looks to reset the world so that all the billionaires can start again. Really, the plot kinda inconsequential. It's just there as the framework for us to watch sight gags, pratfalls, and general idiocy just run rampant. Now, in addition to Neeson, we have Pamela Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser, Danny Houston, and Kevin Durant. And they each understand the assignment, and then they milk their scenes with the appropriate level of campiness. And just like with the original films, this is a play on a noir, with Neeson narrating the majority of his thoughts to just help the storyline progress. During these, while a lot of them may create some chuckles, there was one particular line as he was mentally describing Pamela Anderson that the entire theater burst out in laughter. The line was something that I had never heard before, and it had the perfect effect. Now, Pamela Anderson plays the femme fatale perfectly, even though that's not really what she is. She's got a physique that the film semi-exploits, but surprisingly, it doesn't fall into the extreme sexist trappings that were present in those 80s and 90s that just focused exclusively on her physical appearance. Anderson, I thought she was awesome in her role. The story doesn't limit her to a brainless twit who just giggles and makes annoying one-liners that are meant to be cutesy, but in reality are just insulting. Instead, she's competent, well-spoken, and extremely capable. And with that breath of fresh air, she's then able to execute some excellent comedy through silliness that we as the audience can tell as an act for the character so that she can accomplish her plan. Paul Walter Hauser has a smaller role in this, and he may look like he's kind of channeling his Stingray persona from Cobra Kai, but he's way more grounded here, playing more of the straight man to Neeson's quirks, but also not missing out on some hugely funny scenes. He's subtle, but still maintains a solid presence, and he doesn't miss a beat with his timing. And the same goes for Kevin Durant. Now, I was hoping that we would get to see more of him, where he gets to just showcase the comedy that we know he has inside him, but here it's drastically minimized. When he was in Abigail, he was entertaining because his simpleton pureness contrasted so well with his daunting physical appearance. For this, he's just kind of a thug who's sidelined through much of the story. But Danny Houston thrives as a baddie. He's just the right mix of ludicrous and mad, giving us a villain who isn't scary, but is just this side of cartoonish. And he retains just enough groundedness to make him believably deranged in his pursuit of power, but still absurd enough to then be sarcastically funny. And for these types of slapstick parodies, the sight gags have to work, and most of them absolutely do. There's this ongoing shtick with Neeson and Hauser, and while at one point I thought it was going to play out kind of like the cop's hat in Scary Movie 3, this didn't fall into a copycat scenario. Instead, keeping the gag simple, but still wildly effective. And for those who remember the first Naked Gun, there are a few quick Easter eggs that you can catch if you're paying attention. But even when there aren't callbacks, so much of this comedic storytelling style is through the quick imagery. Sometimes it may be a sign in the background. Other times it could be the same person going over a car repeatedly. The visual humor is the outrageous filling around the humorous dialogue that then connects the sequences in a way that prevents a lot of lulls. Now, a lot of the humor is juvenile, and it's repetitive, sometimes drawn out excessively so that it becomes a little absurd. I was pleasantly surprised that the majority of it actually landed. Now, some moments they did feel like they were trying way too hard just to get a laugh, and those were noticeably lame. But more often than not, the visuals would at least elicit a chuckle, if not a full chortle. And it's in these moments when the comedy doesn't land that the movie's lack of engaging plot makes the time noticeable. And that's despite this only being 85 minutes total. I mean, it's a short movie, but it doesn't outstay its welcome. But bits here and there could certainly be trimmed to tighten up the sequences to make the comedy hit harder. And you want to stay all the way through the credits and read the credits, because there are so many gags hidden within just the scrolling words. Overall, this is a much-needed comedic relief for today. Liam Neeson forges his own path while still honoring the genius of Leslie Nielsen. Pamela Anderson shines through some shameless abandon, while never devolving into a mindless, stereotypical bombshell that was prevalent in so many of this film's predecessors. The plot is built enough to contain a story, but thin enough not to get in the way of the slapstick and visual gags. And although not all the jokes land, leading to some time drag, the majority of the film creates snickers and some laugh-out-loud moments that will leave you with a smile on your face and possibly your sides hurting from laughter. The Naked Gun is awesomely irreverent and ridiculous, and I wouldn't have it any other way. There's implied sex but not actual sex, some very brief nudity, a little bit of profanity, and then a bunch of slapstick violence. I give The Naked Gun 3.5 out of 5 couches. Now, while it may not be hugely memorable, it is a bunch of fun, and it's going to be something to revisit from time to time. Alright, do you have any favorite slapstick parodies similar to The Naked Gun? I love Airplane, and also What's Up, Doc? But I'd love to know your favorites in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.